What's up, everybody, and welcome back to CountryCast. We have taken deep dives into artists before, and today we are going to take another one. But this time, it will be into one of the most controversial artists within the music industry right now. Stick around because we are about to take a look back into Aaron Lewis's amazing journey, and of course talk about how Aaron Lewis has made it a point to give not only the country music industry the middle finger, but the music industry as a whole. I believe it's safe to say that Waylon, Merle, Johnny, and the many other outlaws of country music would be pretty damn proud of Aaron Lewis. So with that, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Aaron Lewis was born in Rutland, Vermont on April 13, 1972. During Aaron's time in Vermont, he spent most of that, particularly his summers, with his grandfather going hunting and fishing. And because of the close bond that Aaron had with his World War II veteran grandfather, he became introduced to country music. Aaron has previously stated, "Country was the background music to my childhood. My grandfather listened to Merle Haggard, Hank Williams Jr., and all of the greats." Aaron's time in Vermont with his grandfather was truly the start of something very special. Now, music was such an important part of his childhood, so much so that he bought his first record at the age of 5 years old. Not a toy, not a candy bar, not out at the playground with other kids, but buying his first album and listening. He was so in tune with music that when he was asked by his third grade teacher what he wanted to be when he grew up, he expressed interest in becoming a rock star. Now, that's a pretty normal answer for a kid that age, but the difference is Aaron Lewis made it happen. After spending majority of his childhood in the rural areas of Vermont, Lewis's parents split up, and Aaron went with his father to Longmeadow, Massachusetts, which is located just south of Springfield. But as they did many times before, Aaron moved yet again and finally settled down in the Forest Park section of Springfield, Massachusetts around his start of 9th grade at Longmeadow High School. Throughout Aaron's youth, he worked as a landscaper and cleaned hotel rooms, but he remained focused on his end goal, music. During that time, Lewis continued to play music around his hometown, where he played acoustic sets at bars, pool halls, restaurants, coffee houses. I mean, you name it, Aaron was there and probably playing. So needless to say, Aaron's childhood and youth consisted of just a couple of things: music and the outdoors. And if you want to believe it or not, Aaron Lewis is damn good at both, and because of his drive and motivation surrounding country music and rock music, he was able to turn his passion into a very successful career. So how did Aaron's rise to music success all start? Shortly after high school in 1993, Aaron Lewis met a drummer by the name of John Wasaki. What's interesting about this, and some of you may not know, is that after Aaron met Wasaki, the two started a band. Now, before you jump the gun and believe that it was Staind that I am talking about, it was not. The band formed at the time was known as J-Cat, and it consisted of Aaron Lewis, John Wasaki, Chris Bellini, and Tori Sands. Without giving away too much, because there is actually something very interesting behind J-Cat, which we will get to in just a moment. I will say this: the band lived on for a short period of time, and during its short life, Aaron and J-Cat spent most of their days playing nightclubs and making their attempt to break through into the industry. But around 1995, J-Cat finally made its transformation into the band that we all know and love today, Staind. Aaron Lewis, of course, remained, as well as John Wasaki, but Tori Sands and Chris Bellini were replaced by lead guitarist Mike Mushok and bassist Johnny April. Staind went right to work and released their first album, Tormented, in 1996. And after 1 year, only 1 year of having their debut album released, Aaron Lewis was able to help create an opportunity that was very critical to the band's success. Lewis and his cousin Justin were able to secure an opening concert spot for Staind. In October of 1997, Staind opened for none other than Limp Bizkit. The funny thing is that this opportunity actually almost fell through and didn't happen for Aaron Lewis and Staind. Just prior to the show, Limp Bizkit frontman Fred Durst had a chance to see Staind's album artwork for their debut album Tormented, and he was not very pleased by the design. As you can see here, this is the artwork to Tormented, and because of this artwork, Fred Durst believed Aaron Lewis and Staind to be Satanists. Durst was so disgusted that he even tried to have them removed from opening the show. But ultimately, that did not happen, and Staind took the stage where they changed Fred Durst's mind. Because of their excellent performance, Fred helped Staind get signed to their first ever record label, Flip Records. I guess you can say the rest is history for Aaron Lewis and Staind. In April of 1999, Staind released their follow-up album, Dysfunction, with Flip Records and some help from Elektra Records. This album is what helped shoot the band into the mainstream and was the catapult to their massive success. Dysfunction featured major hits like Mud Shovel, which is one of my all-time favorites, and of course their other hit, Home. Those two songs were played all throughout rock radio. Mud Shovel landed in the top 10 on Billboard's mainstream rock chart, and the album itself has since gone double platinum, selling more than 2 million copies. Fast forward to Staind's third album, and arguably their most popular, Break the Cycle. I mean, at 7 million copies sold and debuting on Billboard's top 200 albums chart, I think the argument can definitely be made. Break the Cycle featured It's Been a While and Outside. Now remember how I said there was something interesting about Aaron's first band, J-Cat? Well, this is the part of the documentary where it lands. Even though Break the Cycle did not come out until 2001, Aaron Lewis and J-Cat were actually playing It's Been a While and Outside live in the early 90s. What else is pretty wild is that the version that most are familiar with from Staind are actually different versions from what Aaron Lewis and J-Cat were playing with those two songs in the beginning. Outside in particular, Aaron Lewis constantly changed the lyrics to the song in its early years. Thanks to YouTube user D. Lennon, we have a preview of the audio to J-Cat performing Outside and It's Been a While. Y'all take a look.
It's been a while since I could. I'm on the outside and I'm looking in.
Knowing those two songs had been alive for so long in Lewis's repertoire is actually pretty cool, and it really gives you an idea on how far ahead Aaron Lewis was of his time. Moving into Staind's next album, 14 Shades of Grey. Again, Aaron Lewis and Staind made their mark and dropped an album that debuted once more at number 1 on Billboard's 200 chart, and like albums before it, it had sold more than 2 million copies. Staind's fifth album dropped, which was Chapter 5, The Singles, and what's really amazing is that after 4 albums, they were already able to make a record of straight bangers and curate an entire album of singles. By 2008, Staind dropped their 6th album, The Illusion of Progress, which again, that album soared and brought in gargantuan numbers, not only in sales and streams, but also again on the Billboard charts. By the time Staind reached their 7th album, which was self-titled, things began to change and slow down a bit for the band. John Wasaki had left, and Aaron Lewis wanted to make his transition into country music as a solo artist. Now, I wanted to take the opportunity to recap the success of Staind, because I believe that with all of what Aaron Lewis and Staind were able to accomplish, it made for an outstanding crossover with Lewis jumping into country music, especially when you look at the timing of it all as well. Again, I believe that this was a very vital move by Aaron Lewis and a very vital role within country music and where we have gotten today in the genre. Here's why. Aaron Lewis released his first country music EP, Town Line, in 2011. Now that was right around the time that bro country began peaking commercially within the genre. The corporate country industry really pushed that style of country with acts like Florida Georgia Line, Dustin Lynch, Chase Rice, and many others. Even though Aaron's EP, Town Line, only featured 7 songs, it still resonated well with the traditional country fan and gave hope to many who were lost at the idea of where country music may have been headed. And let's face it, the front man to Stained was now in country music, and he was fucking awesome. Country Boy was a pretty big hit for Lewis, and he was even able to swing George Jones and Charlie Daniels onto the track. If you have any question, or if you did, about Aaron Lewis being able to make that crossover into country, I would say that if the Possum and Charlie Daniels signs off on you, you're pretty good to go, and the fans should agree. The following year, Aaron Lewis released his first full-length country album titled The Road. And again, Lewis kept in touch with his traditional country roots in which he grew up on and listening to, and the album prevailed, debuting at number 7 on Billboard's Top Country Albums chart at number 7. Pretty good so far. Remember, corporate wanted bro country to take over, even though there was a period of time where it essentially did, especially on radio, but you can't argue the fact that the numbers that Aaron Lewis was pulling in at the time, and especially with his take on traditional sounding country, kept the industry on their toes. 4 years passed as fans waited on Aaron's follow-up album, Sinner, which dropped in 2016. Sinner solidified Lewis's position once more by debuting at number 1 on Billboard's Top Country Albums chart. Fast forward to 2019, and Lewis released his third full-length album, State I'm In, where it debuted at number 2 on Billboard's Top Country Albums chart. No matter what corporate country wants to push, there will always be country fans and some artists who push back. And I think Aaron Lewis and his fan base is a great example. Now, I'm not saying Aaron Lewis was the sole reason that we were able to maintain this traditional sound within country. I believe Texas country has a lot to do with it as well, and I think they are playing a major role. But I just think that Aaron Lewis and his outlaw ways and the way that he writes songs lyrically is a big movement and a big part of country music staying relevant, especially the more traditional sound. And when it comes to right now, Aaron Lewis recently released his most popular and most successful single as a solo country artist to date, Am I the Only One? Aaron Lewis made a statement when he released this single. Am I the Only One highlights the current political climate and social issues within the United States from Aaron Lewis's conservative views. Upon release of the song, it debuted at number 1 on Billboard's Hot Country Songs chart and set in the top 15 of Billboard's Hot 100 chart, which covers all genre. I'm sure corporate was shocked to see this song's success. Speaking out politically or in pretty much any other way in general is unusual nowadays, and many tend to shy away from it. But like I said earlier, Aaron Lewis has given the country music industry and music industry as a whole the birds when he released Am I the Only One? And he consistently speaks out on his behalf with his beliefs at his shows. Like the time he blamed Democrats for all of the scars on this country.
Yeah, but did we all pay attention? Because if we all paid attention in our fucking history classes, we would know that the Democrats are responsible for every fucking scar that exists on this country.
Or what about the time he led an F Joe Biden chant?
Fuck Joe Biden! Fuck Joe Biden!
So, again, Aaron Lewis has always wanted to be a rock star and has always had a passion for country music. Lewis made the rock star gig happen with Stained without a doubt. And when country needed a rock star attitude, he gave us one. And there are not many outlaws left in the game anymore. Now, there is nothing wrong with advancing a genre or adding elements within a genre that may have never been introduced before. But Aaron Lewis's take on country music and the little bit of traditional root that we get within his music just keeps that sound relevant, and it keeps country fans knowing that country music, actual country music, still does exist, but it is okay for that advancement. But Aaron Lewis just knows how to find that sweet spot and stay there. What's awesome is Stained is back together and touring. They just finished up with Korn. I got a chance to see them live at Welcome to Rockville this past year, and let me tell you, if you get a chance, please go check them out with Aaron. It is simply an incredible show. They are so good live. But if country is strictly your thing, just make sure to check them out solo. Remember, Aaron Lewis's new album, Frayed at Both Ends, drops January 28th, 2022, and that will feature Am I the Only One? So let us know your favorite Aaron Lewis song or Stained song down below in the comments. Thank you for tuning in here to CountryCast. That will be it for today's video. If you are new here, hit that subscribe button, turn those notifications on as well so you never miss out on any breaking updates surrounding your favorite country artist and all the news coming right out of Music City. Y'all stay country.